Hey guys, it's Alan Zweibel. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you. I'm so sorry you guys can't be with each other. It's a weird time, isn't it? Horrible time, but let's try to make the most of it as far as we're concerned, and I hope you're all staying healthy. I know you're meeting tomorrow at 1:30. I think I'm going to join you by way of Zoom at 2 o'clock, but Bronwyn wanted me to say something to you leading into tomorrow. So here I am. I'm in my home. All right. Last time I spoke to you this way, I think I was in a hotel room. This is where I work. This is my study. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see some things. Okay, there are some awards. You may recognize them. Some more. Some pictures. There's Paul McCartney and me. I've always wondered if Paul has that same picture in his study. You might recognize some of these guys. Larry David, Martin Short, me. This is what I looked like before I got the job at SNL. This is around 1972 or 3 when I was working at a delicatessen. There's my TV that I watch when I'm writing. This is me with my old pal Gilda Radner. There are our children, Sari, Adam, and Lindsay. I think I got Robin over here somewhere. Where is she? Robin. All right, well, here's our wedding picture. If you can see that. There's a lot of other ones here. I don't know what happened to them. My desk. I usually write sitting on the couch. Hey guys, that's me, my father, and my son at our bar mitzvahs. Okay. And let me take you through to where we're going to talk. Here's a wall with some memorabilia on it. This is a letter that was written, in 1981 by a 15-year-old kid named Judd Apatow after I appeared on his high school radio show. This is, I don't know if you could see it, Steve Martin wrote me a letter after I wrote a special for him. Now we're coming through. There's the kitchen. My wife's naked behind that door, so we're not going to go in there. It's our living room. Here's a cool thing. It's the coolest thing about this place. This is New York. This is from our balcony. Look at this. And up this way, see the George Washington Bridge. So it's down here. Now it's still the winter, but you can imagine how beautiful this looks when it's the spring and summer. And now we're going to go back in. And we're going to talk a little bit. Oh, God, my hair. All right. I have my laptop here. And the questions that Libby gathered from you guys. I see number 3 and 4 are the ones I guess you'll be discussing tomorrow. How to tell a joke, guide to one-liner jokes. Let me just say that I told you that I had 1,100 jokes that I had written which is what got me the job on SNL. I don't write jokes anymore. That's something that somebody does, a writer when he's starting out, or someone like Jerry Seinfeld or Chris Rock writes for themselves because they look at something and they have an attitude about it, and they're not jokes necessarily. You know, when those 1,100 jokes that I had written, those were jokes. That was a very long time ago, and those were hard to write. Those of you who want to write jokes, understand that there's an old adage that comics say funny things, comedians say things funny. Now think about your friends. You'll understand the difference. A comic can tell a joke that somebody writes, but a comedian says things funny. He doesn't necessarily telling jokes. He's got an attitude. She's got an attitude. Think of your friends. Think of your friends who are just funny, who make you laugh. They have an attitude. They have a point of view, but they're not necessarily telling you jokes. Jokes are hard to write. When I was starting out, I got paid $7 to write jokes. These were for the comedians who worked in what was called the Catskill Mountains. And the first joke, they paid me $7 a joke. That was the going rate in 1972. And I would, the first joke I ever got $7 for, I had written about a sperm bank. And the joke was, they have a new thing now called sperm banks, which is just like an ordinary bank, except here, after you make a deposit, you lose interest. Well, that's the kind of joke that gets a laugh from anybody who says it. Okay, because the joke is funny, okay? But it's, when a writer graduates, he gets to a point where it's easier for him to write when he writes a script and he's got a character that he puts funny lines in, but it's according to his character. I think you guys have heard of Rodney Dangerfield. When I used to write for him, that was a lot easier because he had an attitude, because he said, I don't get no respect. So it was easy for me to have him say, even as an infant, I didn't get any respect. My mother wouldn't breastfeed me. She said she liked me as a friend. Okay, that was a lot funnier coming from a guy whose demeanor, his whole persona, was of somebody who didn't get any respect. So when comedians sit down and write a set, which I see as one of the bullet points here, they're writing for their own voice, all right? And if you dissect what they're doing, if you told those jokes, you may not get a laugh because it's not within the context of character, okay? What are your favorite jokes? It says here, well, the joke that got me the job on SNL was a very funny joke at the time, where I had said that the post office was about to issue a stamp commemorating prostitution in the United States. It's a 10-cent stamp. If you want to lick it, it's a quarter. I mean, think about it. That's how long ago I wrote it. And that joke took me about 2 months to write. And I described that, and I know Brownwood's getting this to you guys. This is my new book. Now, we've got laugh lines, My Life Helping Funny People Be Funnier. This comes out next month. And in it, I will talk about how I wrote that particular joke. It took a month. It was 1975, and the following year was the bicentennial. So the post office was starting to issue stamps commemorating, America, the events that happened in our country. And I said, gee, what's a funny thing for them to make a stamp about? And I came up with prostitution. But that was a funny premise, but how do I make a punchline out of it? And I tried a lot of different ways. I can't even read, it's in the book. But basically, I tried a lot of different things about what happens when you lick it, and some of it was very obscene. Okay, so then when I went to the price, it's this amount, and then it's that much more if you want to lick it, which is really interesting. Sometimes when I speak at colleges today, kids who are 17 and 18 years old who've never licked a stamp because they it's got that gluey stuff on the other side. They go, why would you lick a stamp? So at the time, it was very topical, and now, if you know that people used to lick stamps, it still works. If not, I'm an idiot. What else do you have here? How do you write for other people? I have that in this book too, okay? And basically, what you do, whether it's another comic or comedian, I should say, or characters that you have created in a script, you have their voices in your head and you channel them. And you go, okay, what would be funny coming out of that person's mouth? And when you write a script, you put that person in a situation. And if you've developed that character well enough, something will be funny because it's that character doing it. All right? Just like, once again, you've got friends, some are funnier than others, and they're not walking around telling jokes. The best I can tell you is, and I may have told you when I was up there last month, is there was a comedian named Jack Benny. And if you're not familiar with him, ask your folks, okay? Because he was of their generation. He was around my generation and even before me. And his persona was he was very cheap. Very, very cheap. And the fascinating thing about him is, in the history of radio, the biggest laugh they ever got was from Jack Benny not saying anything. They had somebody come up behind him, a robber, who stuck a gun in his back. And he said, okay, buddy, your money or your life. And the longer that Jack Benny didn't answer, the more the audience laughed, because they knew he was the cheap guy and they knew that he was thinking it over. Should I give my money or should I let him kill me? You know, years ago, there was a show that your parents would also know, and maybe you've seen repeats of it, called All in the Family. And the main character was a guy named Archie Bunker. And Archie Bunker was a lovable bigot, believe it or not. And his character was so ingrained in all of us that one of the biggest laughs they ever got is when the next door neighbor, an African American named Jefferson, would come to Archie's house and sit in his chair. Then you'd see Archie coming up his steps, the front steps before he entered the house. And the fact that you knew that Jefferson was sitting in his chair, you started laughing in anticipation of what Archie's reaction would be. Okay, so the audience would laugh and laugh and laugh, waiting for what his reaction would be to that. So, you know, that's what you want to achieve as a writer. You want to achieve characters that are so ingrained that simple little sentences, a remark, or the raising of an eyebrow, or just some nonverbal response will get a laugh. Okay, so look, Brown said I should do this for 5 minutes. It looks like it's about 12 and a half. I'm going to say goodbye. I hope some of this sort of like grease the wheels for whatever you're going to do tomorrow. And I'm going to join you at 2 o'clock. So I say hi to Brown and Maria, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay, bye.